In the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes. I would make a recommendation to eliminate item G on number 3. The artwork is present of Trail Elementary, but due to parent-teacher conferences this evening, they're unable to provide their school presentation, which will go on the agenda for the main meeting. Then also number 2 under new business, letter E as an elephant. Offering of administrator contract for the 23-24 school year. Due to the timing of that acceptance, we were unable to get all the contract paperwork completed. And so that recommendation will come before the board on April 13th at our special meeting, along with the Lincoln Elementary principal contract, and we will have some other contracts that will go before the board at that special. So would you, if you could also, if it is accepted to be amended, move those letters up as we eliminate E.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda with addendum items. For a second.
Second.
Any abstentions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Up next is a public hearing regarding proposed future demolition of the Little House at Trenton High School. We will open the hearing at 8:05. And it is open for public comment. Hearing none, we will close the hearing and move on to the election of board treasurer and appointment of committee assignments. So we will begin with opening nominations for the election of a board treasurer. Not everyone at once. Yes, that would be helpful. Thank you.
The position of board treasurer is such that your name does appear on the signature card for the bank accounts. You see your name on all of the checks, both accounts payable and payroll. And if you have any questions, you would reach out to myself. But it's not a labor intensive position, if that's some resistance that maybe people are having.
Can we nominate someone who's not here? Yeah. But nominate Mr. Cushman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Cushman is our new board treasurer. You will be thrilled. Up next, our committee assignment appointments by the board chairman. Mr. Sussex is not here tonight. If we have any volunteers to serve on the district policy committee and the salary relations committee, if not, Mr. Sussex will appoint someone.
Chairman, if I may, I can speak to both of those. District Policy Committee is a committee that meets monthly. Committee made up of teachers, administrators in the district, and we review various policies in the policy manual and have some discussion around those before they come to the board for recommendation. Typically, those occur on a Tuesday afternoon, usually from about 4 to either 5 or 5:30, depending upon the content that we discuss. The Salary Relations Committee is somewhat varied. This year we have met, we are scheduled to meet 3 full days, one in the fall. We met a week ago, my weeks are falling together. And then we will also meet on April 14th. This one is a little bit larger time commitment because of the number of days, but quite honestly, and I've shared this with that committee, it is one of my favorite committees that I've actually been a part of, involving education, because it brings a number of perspectives to the floor and the opportunity to have discussion around not just salary, but everything that involves the entire climate of the district is pretty well detailed in those conversations.
All right, if we don't have any volunteers, Mr. Sussex will choose some. Moving on to information and proposals. First up is the 2023 Goshen County Recreation Board allocations. So did you go over those?
It's just actually just information.
Oh, okay. So this is just an informational item. If there is any, if you have any questions or would like further information on any of those, it is on page 6.
I'll just actually mention that information. I don't want to actually go on this, but I just want to actually mention that we did vote in a new member to that committee, Mr. Wade Brew, and actually he was elected to be the president of the Red Board as well. So that's a piece that actually happened during our meeting.
Thank you. There are no further questions. We will move on to the reports by our student representatives to the board. Bye.
Oh, cool. Okay. Hi, so student reps here. We came together and decided that this month we wanted to present on our fine arts programs, which never mind, that doesn't show on there, but as you know, all three, actually you might not know, all 3 of your student reps are music kids. And 2 of us are in drama. One of them is joining drama next year. But we just wanted to present on how we feel our fine arts program isn't supported in ways that it should be. So I don't know if any of you guys went to our showcase for our musical, but if you did, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we will continue with the presentation.
I grab the mic, is that okay?
Yes.
So our first couple slides are just why we kind of think the arts are important and how we should keep supporting ourselves. So we did some research, and a lot of involvement provides opportunities that foster empathy, so helps us care about others, I guess, pretty much. We improve effective interactions with others, so it helps us be people with each other. And it also aids human development, regardless of one's career path. So it kind of just brings us all together, even though we're very different people, but we still come together through music.
The art of music also provides students with a way to express themselves in a creative way. Participation in music can also improve students' self-esteem, as well as their confidence in academic abilities. Lastly, music can also be a form of stress relief for students enrolled in choir, band, theater, and any other form of music. The arts are also important because if you look into the psychology of it, the arts stimulates the same part of your brain that deals with understanding language. Meaning if you were to like learn a different language or learn something harder, it also provides greater understandings of tone and how different segments of speech align. Another thing with the brain understanding language. And studies show that students engaged in the fine arts do better academically, meaning on the ACT, common assessments, any other academic things. Also, on each of these slides, we have a picture of our choir or band because we very much appreciate our choirs and bands. So one of the main concerns that we got from talking to our choir directors and band and just anybody that's in charge of that was the cost of instrument repairs. And because our music program only has one fund that we use for everything, so that covers choir trips, like, for example, we're going to a district festival, Casper, where we perform in front of a bunch of judges and they kind of help us better our choir. That all comes from one fund, and because of inflation, the cost of instrument repairs has gone up dramatically. So that really takes a toll on how much money we can spend on those kind of trips. And in addition to like choir robes, sheet music, I think one of us mentioned that our director had to pay out of pocket for some sheet music. Another thing, we currently have a broken piano at Southeast, so we are using a keyboard that we found in the back of the closet. So we have to pay to replace that, as well as other pianos from other schools could use updating, refurnished, or just tuned more regularly. I don't know if you want to explain it.
So when we talk about like scheduling the fine art spaces, we just want it to be kind of known that it's everyone's space, but it's our spaces too. So if someone is to use the auditorium or someone's to use band or choir rooms, we just want them to take care of our place and, you know, keep it nice and running. That's what we meant.
So on this one, we went into a little more detail, only from the legal perspective, because I had time to talk to Erin Jesperson, my director, lovely woman. But we got straight like budgets and everything. If you look up here, the middle school band budget was 1,100 at the beginning of the year, and it is now 0. And the high school budget was 1,200 and is now 0. And our fund was gone before school even started, because of instrument repairs going up in prices and having to fix it so everybody can perform at our concerts. During the summer, we spent $2,600 plus on instrument repairs. And after the summer, coming into this school year, we spent over $600 since summer. For choir, it's not as bad because middle school choir, they started with $750 and now it's $639.04. But they are also trying to save all year in case of emergencies or in case something I'm about to go into later. Our high school choir started with 1,000 and is now at $470.60. And it will be gone after MPA, which is the district. It's now called Music Performance Assessment in Casper. Every year, as it says, our director, Erin Jesperson, has to take money from our choir fund to transfer over to our band fund to repair instruments. And when we transfer over that money, then she has to end up buying sheet music out of her pocket for both band and choir, which usually is more than $300 per year, because we don't have enough funding to go into the school year after repairing instruments.
Okay, so one of our biggest concerns with our auditorium is our lighting situations. Our sound is in a pretty good place, but some of the things that we want to do, as you can see in the bottom picture, that big, very large black bar is a projection screen. And so it's just really in the way of our lighting instruments. So one of the ideas we had was to move that projection bar outside of the curtains, put it inside the auditorium. And then we could put a banner that says Torrington High School or something that promote our little auditorium we have going on. So the way our lighting system works is we have these bars called electrics, and we have 3 of them. And so each electric has 10 circuits. And so our system that we have for the lights can hold up to 96 circuits. And so one of the things we want to do is continue to add more circuits onto our electrics. So in other words, we can just add more lights and have a better visual performance. And it's not a very large thing. You just have to get an electrician and do some wiring. You want to do that on the side lights too. So if you can see in the very top picture on the right side, you can see there's a little kind of outlet basically. And so that's where we plug our lights into. If you can see the light fixture in the very bottom, that's a pretty far gap to plug into a light. So we want to lower those down just to make it a little bit easier for us so we don't have to reach to grab the light. So we also have a thing called DMX outputs, and probably can't see it. But so DMX is how we function with our LED fixtures and how we can change colors and use some automated lighting. And so for those to work, they're like a linear system. So you plug one into the other and then keep going down the line. And so we want to move our little boxes that we start the DMX with to one side of the stage, because then it just makes a lot more sense because it's linear. Make a lot more sense. We also want to add some more boxes down on the stage and on the side lights, just so we can not have to run 100 feet of cable just to plug in a couple lights. So we also are in pretty good need of some new lights. Every year we borrow a bunch of lights from EWC, so we're very thankful for them. But if kind of our negotiation is to end, we really don't have enough lights to use for our theater. Last year's musical, we borrowed about 20 lights from EWC. So we just kind of want to be more independent and not have to rely on them. So you can see this light in the top left corner. That light is from about the 1980s. So we kind of want some new lights. So kind of an idea for you is those are called vanilles. So we want around 15 of them, and that's just kind of a start for our lighting concerns.
We also realize that this is not a tomorrow thing. We do realize that this is probably a 5 to 7 year plan. We don't expect it to happen next year or the year after, but we want to plan ahead just in case, because I know personally that being in the drama club, I would like our club to have better opportunities. So I want to talk about the actual auditorium next. The pictures are kind of nasty, not gonna lie. But so in the auditorium, our directors went through and counted. We have 45 plus seats broken in that auditorium from all of the rows, including the right and the left rows. They are either, as you can see in the top picture, the seat is completely off, missing. There's either stains or rips in them, or in the bottom picture, you can't really tell, but the springs are off and the seat mechanism doesn't work, meaning it stays open by itself, which is not supposed to happen if you know how folding seats work. We also have very bad holes in the stage floor. And again, we realize that some of these things are not overnight. Like the stage, we would probably have to have someone come in, we'd have to tear up the floor and or just fill in the gaps and paint the stage black or something. Painting the backstage walls would be nice too. I don't know how many of you actually came to our musical. It was really great. If you didn't, you missed out on a lot. But if you could tell by looking, our stage is wood. And if you try and set up a set on a wooden stage that does not have color, it looks a little weird. So if we also paint the backstage walls to match, we could have more of a scenery, and our lights could also work better because of how they reflect.
So basically, condenser mics are these little lights that so we have some up there already, and they hang from the bars that we showed earlier, but they don't work. So we always have to set up these mic stands with condenser mics, and it's kind of useful for choir and band because it helps amplify our sound. We have a very large auditorium, so it's a little hard to, reach the back part. So condenser mics are very helpful. So we would like to replace the ones we have already that will function, and they'll just help us have a better sound pretty much. So.
Lastly, we just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do for us. With our theater program, there was also a couple of concerns. I did not know this, but I just figured out that when we did a gate for our musicals, meaning when you came in, you paid like $5 to watch. It did not go to the theater fund. It went to a general fund. And I don't know if my director was joking or not, but she said that it goes to pay the refs, which was kind of funny, but, so this year we did a free will donation and raised $1,600 that went straight into the theater fund instead of going into a general fund. We're not too concerned about the theater fund, but we're not trying to just come up with problems without solutions. We would like to point that out. We know how the funding works. We know there has to be more students to get more funding. But I think we would like more opportunities to raise money for our choir and bands and our theater program. And if we had a chance to do that, it would be very nice. And if we could get a little more help with our program, I think we could be amazing. Thank you.
Gotta wait for questions though.
Yeah. Yeah. Questions?
Question from the board.
How much money do you need?
We did not think about that. We didn't think we were gonna get that far. Not in a bad way. We just don't have an estimated amount of how much we would need at the moment. I just know that a lot of the times we, like our directors are having to go into other funds or like personally, I feel like Southeast shouldn't have to pay for their piano out of their music fund. I think that's supposed to come out of a different fund. If it's not, I'm probably wrong, don't get me wrong. But it should not have to come out of our general music fund. So we are not sure how much money we need as a county or as an individual school. I don't know if you guys know.
Thank you.
Do you have an idea? Do you have an idea of priority? Like if you could have something done tomorrow, next week, what would it be? And if you don't have one, if you don't have one, I would encourage you to ask for directors and have them maybe come up with an idea of.
I feel like the Southeast priority right now is definitely you guys' piano. I don't know about the Torrington one, but I know Lingo's priority is always instrument repairs, because without an instrument, you can't perform. Torrington's is good, they don't have any main priorities. But other than that, the one of the big priorities right now is the auditorium seats. There's a lot of stuff held in there. We held a board meeting in there. Was it last month? Month before? I don't know. A lot of broken seats, so.
These guys we had a Zoom earlier in the week and they came up with this almost, well, no, entirely on their own. So this is really good. I'd love to see them working together. One of the things I do want to kind of clarify, we talked pretty in depth, the district music festival, that one is paid for out of district funds. So any culminating events, we talked about that with the culminating events, those are paid for district funds. The other piece is that there is also an additional $7,500 fund for repairs of instruments. And then one of the things on the gate, so the reason for the gate, all the funds from general fund actually go into their account. And so when it's taken through gate, just like any other activity, it goes into the account and then is redistributed back to that program. And so each year they have a fund. So when they would have years that actually don't have the attendance, they're not short. They're not dependent on their ticket sales to make sure they have the amount in their fund. Because if we change that and they just kept what they made, there'd be good years like this year, awesome. And then there might be years where the attendance wouldn't be as significant and that would hurt them. So we provide consistency by being able to have that gate go into that fund. And I know I love the closing on there. The one, they realize the importance of numbers, because the more numbers they have and the more ability that we're able to provide more funds for those items. And if you remember, the board did, they talked about the sound system and the improvements that were made. So we made a pretty big investment in that auditorium a couple of years ago on the sound system, and they're spot on with what they'd like to see moving forward. We talked pretty in depth on Zoom about prioritizing and being ready for that, and the opportunities for fundraising are always there, but these guys do an awesome job. I really appreciate what they do in the fine arts, and Sounds like you already got recruiting done for next year's, that's awesome.
You can't tell Mason's like crazy about the lights.
I couldn't make that out.
Yeah.
I share with you just real briefly that, some of those items that you're mentioning are, able to be funded with major maintenance dollars. The lighting that was done prior was, a proposal put together by Mr. Bamer. And, you might encourage them to talk with their principals, in particular at THS, and further proposals can be put forward as potential major maintenance expenditure projects. The other thing that you might encourage them to speak with the custodians and principals at Torrington High School are like the floor that you're referencing. That floor was refinished less than 5 years ago. And it was black at the time, and there were questions about that. So it may just be kind of putting some additional heads together and seeking out the opportunities that are there. But good job.
I think you're off the hook now.
Thank you all for your presentation and thank you for advocating for the fine art. If you would like to go home, feel free. We have a week to go still.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm going to instruct my daughter that she does need to go home. Yeah.
Up next is H, which is public forum. We do not have any requests to speak. So we'll move on to I, recommended actions. First up is the consent agenda. You have to read it. Yeah. All right. Up first, under the consent agenda, approve minutes of March 7th, 2023 regular meeting, March 9th, 2023 special meeting, and March 28th, 2023 special meeting. B is approved monthly bills. C, approved district monthly fiscal statement and fund balance comparison report. The fiscal statement will be available at the time of the meeting due to financials being available after March 31st. D, approve additional 2022-2023 school year WDE chapter 20 transportation safety exceptions as presented. E, approved request per district policy 5147 field trips to allow Torrington Middle School 8th grade band and choir students to participate in the music festival at Elitch Gardens in Denver, Colorado on Saturday, May 13th, 2023, exceeding recommended travel times. F, accept donations to Southeast Schools from Lee Pets Appliance Center in the amount of 10,000, Bolin Mineral Trust 10,000, and Anonymous 4,000 as presented. Donation will be utilized for Southeast video board purchase in new business. G, approve the annual renewal for TransFinder Corporation for transportation route finder system, hosting, communication, imagery service, technical support, and upgrade for the 2023-2024 school year in the total amount of $7,250. This is a general fund reimbursable for transportation. H, approved purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of 63 Lenovo smart tablets for computer science robots from Lenovo in the total amount of $6,299.37, funded by Y Education Trust Fund for Innovative Education Grant. And I, approved purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of 45 classroom robots from Sphero in the total amount of $10,502. This is funded by Y Education Trust Fund for Innovative Education Grant. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any abstentions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2 is new business. The first item is A, consider action resulting from executive session for student disciplinary hearing for student number 1. Do I read the recommendations? Do we have a motion?
I make the motion to follow the superintendent's recommendation for student discipline for student number 2022-23-01.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any, all those in favor? Oh, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, B, consider action resulting from executive session for student disciplinary hearing number 2. Do we have a motion?
I make the motion to follow the superintendent's recommendation for student discipline for student number 2022-23-02.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consider acceptance of resignation submitted by certified staff. Recommendation, accept the resignation submitted by THS math teacher Luke Adet and THS science teacher Melody Foos, effective at the end of the 2022-2023 school year. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, consider approval of offering teaching contracts, renewal of initial contract teachers and annual employment agreements for the 2023-2024 school year. Recommendation, approve offering teaching contracts and renewal of annual employment agreements for the 2023-2024 school year. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Item E, consider approval of offering an employment agreement for the 2023-2024 school year. Recommendation, approve offering an employment agreement to Sheena Simonson as an occupational therapist for the 2023-2024 school year, pending Wyoming licensure. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item F, consider approval of offering an employment agreement for the district project aware coordinator. Recommendation, approve offering an employment agreement to Christina Bullington as the part-time project aware coordinator for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item G, consider approval of summer school administrators for the 2023 session. Recommendation, approve Tyler Florchinger as the 2023 elementary summer school principal and Jacob Martin as the 2023 secondary summer school principal. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item H, consider approval of contracting with Wyoming Educators Benefit Trust, WEBT, for district health insurance coverage for the 2023-2024 school year. Recommendation, approve renewing the contract with WEBT for the 2023-2024 school year to provide employees with health, dental, and vision insurance. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I need someone else to talk so that you don't just have to listen to me for the next hour. Item I, consider approval of contracting with Wyoming School Board Association for district strategic planning services. The recommendation is to approve contracting with WSBA for district strategic planning services at the rate of $6,000 for phase 1, $1,500 for phase 2, and $500 for phase 3, for a total of $8,000 plus travel expenses. This is a general fund board expense. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item K, consider approval of license renewal with Instructure for Canvas Learning Management Systems. Did I skip one? Just kidding, we're on J. Consider approval of purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of a video board for Southeast Schools. Recommendation, approve the purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of a 6.5 foot by 11 foot video board from Sideline Interactive LLC in the total amount of $23,979, funded by donations to Southeast as presented in the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item K, consider approval of license renewal with Instructure for Canvas Learning Management Systems. Recommendation, approve the renewal with Instructure for 1,640 Canvas Learning Management System licenses for the 2023-2024 school year in the amount of $5,740 based on a 3-year pricing model with option to cancel subsequent years with 30 days notice. This is from Title I and Title 4 funds. Roman numerals are not my thing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item L, consider approval of contracting with Power School for the Unified Insights Platform. Recommendation, approve contracting with Power School for the purchase of Unified Insights Platform in the amount of $18,812.49 for the 2023-2024 school year from ESSER funds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item M, consider approval of contracting with Instructional Intensity, Inc. for District Literacy Needs Survey. Recommendation is to approve contracting with Instructional Intensity, Inc. for a structured literacy needs assessment as per the requirements of the Y-Built grant in the total amount of $15,000. This is from CLSD Y-Built grant funds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item N, consider approval of proposed demolition of the Trenton High School Little House building pending approval of the School Facilities Department. Recommendation is to approve the proposed demolition of the THS Little House building pending approval of a project funding by the School Facilities Department. Is there a motion?
I so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item O, consider approval of contracting with Arctic Air Refrigeration for Central Office Cooling Project. Recommendation, approve contracting with Arctic Air Refrigeration in the total amount of $9,288.34 for the installation of a split cooling system for Conference Room B at the Central Administration Office. This is out of Major Maintenance Fund. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Is that the room we were just in? It is warm, that makes sense. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item P, consider approval of contracting with Painting Unlimited for painting services at Trail Elementary. Recommendation is to approve contracting with Painting Unlimited for interior painting in the amount of $9,522 and for exterior decorative trim painting in the amount of $1,200 for a total amount of $10,722. This is out of the major maintenance fund. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second? Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item Q, consider approval of purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of custodial equipment for district buildings. Recommendation is to approve the purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of a vacuum for Trell Elementary in the amount of $949.99, a floor machine for Lincoln Elementary in the amount of $2,009.99, an orbital floor scrubber for Torrington High School in the amount of $8,097, and a self-contained carpet extractor for Torrington Middle School in the amount of $3,856.03 from Bluffs Facility Solutions for a total purchase of $14,913.01. This is from general fund under custodial equipment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item R, consider approval of purchase exceeding $5,000 for the purchase of cleaning and disinfecting supplies and paper products for district buildings. Recommendation. Approve the purchase of cleaning and disinfecting supplies and paper products for Lingle Fort Laramie schools in the amount of $7,278.05, Southeast Schools in the amount of $2,919.86, and THS in the amount of $15,116.02, in the total amount of $25,313.93 from Bluffs Facility Solutions. This is out of general fund custodial. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Can I just, why such a variance?
Madam Chair, members of the board, the custodians are asked to put together summer orders. And what we found is that some of the schools have new staff and some of the schools had a little bit of a back supply that they're able to be using up. We also have an issue with some schools having more storage ability than other schools. So those that have storage, hopefully you see less requests from them, but when you do see a request, it'd be in a larger amount.
Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Up next is topics for discussion. If anyone has anything they would like to bring up or share, we do have down a report on the board work session that was held on March 9th. Who's going to give that?
Chairman Sussex, so we can put that over to the main meeting and have further discussion. That'll also allow us to probably have further discussion along the approved strategic planning initiative that we'll be working with Wyoming School Board Association. So those will fit nicely together.
Fantastic, thank you. Item J is future meetings. There will be a board work session for the 2023-24 preliminary budget on Thursday, April 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
They also reference that will be, instead of a work session, in addition to the work session, that will be a special meeting to approve numerous contracts. As part of my presentation, you'll notice we have a number of blanks, but at the April 13th meeting, we'll be able to address a number of those blanks in regards to that.
Thank you. The Salary Relations Committee will be meeting on Friday, April 14th, 2023 at 8 a.m. And next is the next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Item K is the superintendent's report.
So I will, as I just referenced, I will bring up the current staff changes that we have. This first listing is the certified staff changes, where we have those filled, and vacancies are those blanks, as I referenced earlier. And a number of those will have positions named where they have accepted the positions and are waiting to have board approval for our contracts being completed. So that will be an opportunity to fill a number of those. The hiring season is in full swing, as many of the trustees know, is taking part in some of those interviews. And at the building levels, we are scheduling a lot of different interviews, and we're very excited about some of the opportunities that we've had to fill in with some of our staff that are coming into our district. The next section that I have is the classified staff, either resignations or retirees. And you can see over here in this column is where we were filling for those when they were posted and when we will start working on the filling of that. As you can see, we have a number of vacancies. Maureen, I do believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe this is a little less than where we were at last year, it feels like, even though there's some high intensity ones that have been more involved, and I took it down, so I apologize.
It's probably about the same, that it's rolling transfers that make that top list look so long. One person moves.
Thank you, Larry. The next item that I have on my report is the attendance report. I will increase the size so you can see that. The area is highlighted. If there is no highlight, there is no change from the previous month. As you can see, slight changes are indicated in green. There was really not any movement one way or the other. The number of days are very similar to the previous month. So you'll notice that there was only slight movement. I see I did miss one on Lincoln Fort Laramie Middle School did have a slight decline in average. This is the way our funding model works because we have funded based on the number of students. So making sure to keep a close eye on that monthly is important as we reference that. You will hear next week, that student enrollment number really plays out the following year. And so you will see in our budget how that's reflected on next Thursday's meeting, and slight increase from the month previous in the grand total of students from 1,617 to 1,618. Next I have is an update from the district report card committee. We were supposed to have our meeting yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, due to the weather, we were unable to hold that meeting. We have held two meetings prior where we had the first meeting talked about discussion around what types of avenue we could proceed with. And if you'll remember from the board meeting, there was consensus to build off of our current report card to make fixes. This last meeting was covered on the different perspectives where each individual came and presented their perspective on what they think pieces are working. I think as Trustee Hurley can kind of attest to in that there is about as each individual there's a different opinion on how that might look or see. And if you'd like to speak to any more of that, Trustee Hurley, feel free.
I'll just say that the second meeting was very educational and very informative, and it feels like we're starting to get somewhere.
Thank you, Mr. Hurley. The other piece, so the next priority that we were going to do last evening that we have now rescheduled to next Wednesday, we asked the members to come with their proposal for report card. So we'll see the various proposals and ideas. We have also reached out to a number of districts that have standard-based grading at the high school level to determine how they utilize their student information system. So we use PowerSchool, how they integrate those two, and how we can better do that in order to convey the information to students, parents, and how we can improve that process through that work. I'm excited about the opportunity to have the conversations, very intelligent people serving on that committee, and also those who have a great deal of knowledge and perspective that are not afraid to share that perspective. And that's always very valuable in a committee. District graduation is going to be upon us before we know it. Sunday, May 22nd, 1 o'clock THS, 2:30 LFL, 4 o'clock southeast. If you want to start checking your calendars as to which graduation ceremony you would like to attend, you do not have to attend all of them. If you so choose to just attend one, I take down the names of which ones you'd like to attend. And I make sure that we have seats available and set aside for you at that graduation. So I will ask for more when we get to our May meeting, a commitment which ones you'd like to attend, so I can make sure we're prepared for you and your attendance at those graduation ceremonies. Hard to believe with a snow day yesterday that we're going to talk about graduation. Great. Yes, and I did PRS. Theirs is not listed on this agenda, but it is. I have to look for that email real quick. The 17th at 6 o'clock in the EWC auditorium. That is or 5 o'clock, correct? We're going to be done 5 o'clock in the EWC auditorium on the 17th for PRS. There's going to be a Wednesday evening, a little separate from. They do have the option, of course, in the PRS student that also wants to participate in the other graduation ceremony still has that option that they've had in the past.
Just a quick correction, it is the 21st of May, the 22nd is in May.
That doesn't work. Thank you very much for catching that. You're not even doing it this year. You guys tell next year. Are you already looking at it? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. We will adjourn at 8:55.
It was the case.